But before I get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Belinda Harris, and I am an HR disruptor. I've been in the human resource field for almost 20 years. And on this channel, I talk about all things HR, from HR for small businesses or managers or supervisors to employees and people looking for a job. I also talk about AI. I love talking about AI. And I talk about self-care at work. So if those are things that you're interested in, well then you're in the right place.
How do you protect your energy at work when quitting is not an option? Because let's be honest, sometimes we're stuck in places that drain us. Sometimes we are. A lot of times, people will say, well, go look for another job. Go look for another job. That's easier said than done while we're waiting for that other job. And sometimes we're stuck in the place that drains us because we need a job. We have bills to pay. So we can't just randomly quit and hope for money to come in. And so sometimes we're stuck. We're stuck here. We're stuck in a place that drains us. Maybe the team is toxic. Maybe the workload is unrealistic. Or maybe leadership doesn't value boundaries. What do? Let me tell you. You are allowed to protect your peace even if the environment isn't peaceful. I'm going to say that one more time. You are allowed to protect your peace even in environments that isn't peaceful. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, let me name the thing that's draining you. I call it energy leaks. They just zap your energy, leaks the energy right out of you. Just zaps, just sucks like a leech, just sucks the life right out of you, the energy right out of you. Here's some examples. Now, follow me if you have heard or experienced this. Constant interruptions. Maybe emotional labor where you're managing everyone else's feelings. Unclear job roles or shifting expectations. You never know what we're supposed to be doing because it's unclear and it keeps shifting. Maybe you have a passive-aggressive coworker. Or maybe you feel invisible or unheard. Well, I want you to grab yourself a sticky note or a journal. And I want you to ask yourself this question. What drains me the most at work? Emotionally, mentally, and physically. Because awareness is the first act of self-care. You have to think about what is it? What is it that is draining me the most? Emotionally, mentally, and physically at work. What is it? You see, boundaries, when we think about that, and I talk about boundaries all the time as it relates to self-care. But boundaries doesn't always mean confrontation. A lot of times when you think about, I got to put my boundary up, that it's going to be a confrontation. But it doesn't always mean confrontation. Sometimes boundaries sound like, I can get to that by Friday, but not today. It can sound like, let's take this conversation that we're having, let's take it to email because we want it in writing. Or I need a few minutes to kind of reset before we continue. Those are boundaries. Although you may not think that, you may not initially think you're setting a boundary. That's setting a boundary. It's not confrontational, but you're setting a boundary. Energetic boundaries are internal too, because it means that you're protecting your thoughts and emotional space. You don't have to take everything personally. You don't have to respond instantly. And you don't have to fix everything. Sometimes you got to let people sit in their own discomfort because that's not your assignment. Especially those, and I'm very guilty of that, is you want to fix people's problems. They come to you with a problem or something, you want to fix it. That's just natural for you. But sometimes when you take on too many of those, it wears you down. And you have to set that boundary for yourself by, again, maybe you don't respond instantly. For somehow people think that when you send a text that you have a certain amount of time to respond back. Do you? Is that a rule? You send someone a text and what's the time limit to respond? Even at work. You don't have to fix everything. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's okay to let people sit in their own discomfort of a problem they caused, because that's not your assignment. Now, let's talk about recovery. Protecting your energy isn't just about avoiding things. It's about recharging. So you're not just ducking and dodging, right? Because you're trying to avoid things because you're trying to protect your energy. It's about recharging. And there's some simple things that you can do to reset your energy. Of course, I'm going to give you some examples. To reset your energy, you can do this midday. The first thing is put your phone down and step away for 5 minutes. That's hard for people because we are programmed, especially at work, that we have to be on call, be on ready at all times. But put your phone down and step away for 5 minutes. That's an energy reset. Breathe deeply for 60 seconds. Breathing is so important. Deep breathing is so important. And I don't think we practice that enough. That it sounds a cliche or something those other people do. We need to be doing deep breathing exercises every day. We can do that midday. It doesn't take a lot of time. You already have all the tools and equipment you need internally. So you don't have to do anything except focus on deep breathing. So breathe deeply for 60 seconds. You do the inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. That's an energy reset. You think about that. If you take 1 minute and all you did was inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, you will feel differently. In 60 seconds. It works. I do it. When I'm feeling a certain kind of way and you feel your energy going, or you feel like you're about to be aggravated, or you feel maybe you're starting to feel overwhelmed with all the work that you got to do, you take 60 seconds to just breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, for 1 minute. When that minute is up, you see things a lot more clear. Clarity comes. You calm down. You can kind of see the path through. The other thing that you can do is sip something warm like tea or water with lemon or whatever grounds you. But sip something warm. That's an energy reset. You know why I'm say something warm and they say something warm? They recommend something warm. It's because usually you can't drink something warm fast, right? Something room temperature, you can take it. Something, cold, you can take it. Something warm, you can't turn up just something warm. That's a slow sip, right? Because you sip and get a little bit and let it go down. You sip, get a little bit and let it go down. That's what they say, recommend something warm. Because something fast, you can just chug it. But the warmness slows down what you're doing. It's the slow. That's why you see people drink coffee and stand outside and just look. It's a slow. Or tea. It's a slow. Calm. And then you can try saying things out loud, such as, I'm allowed to pause. I protect my peace with presence. I'm allowed to pause. I protect my peace with presence. You see, resetting your energy causes you to slow down. That's the purpose of that, to slow down, not keep going fast at a fast level. Will you have to go back to that pace? Maybe, depending on what your work is. But when you do a reset, when you are recalming your body, when you work in a toxic environment, whether it's, again, your coworkers or your supervisors, and you can't leave, you need this job, toxic and all, quitting just isn't an option. What do? Do you just keep suffering? Do you keep suffering? Or do you find a way to have peace at work? There's a song that calls, there's a lily in the valley, that even in the worst things, the valley, which is in the lowest point, there's something pretty there. There's a lily there. And even at work, and even in a toxic environment, it is your responsibility to create peace within yourself, because quitting isn't always an option for us. It's not. It's just not. And sometimes we're working in places we don't care for, we don't like. That's horrible for us. But we need to find our way through, because right now we need that job. And you do that by incorporating self-care at work, by putting your phone down and stepping away for 5 minutes, by doing your deep breaths, by sipping on something warm so it can calm down, by saying mantras and affirmations, because you need to give yourself every opportunity to pour into yourself so that you can survive this toxic workplace. Because if you look around and nobody else is fixing it, no one's going to come to the rescue. You are responsible for rescuing yourself. No one's going to pluck you out and be like, I'm going to save this person right here. You are responsible for saving yourself. And how do you do that in a place that's not good for you, but that you can't quit? You do that by providing self-care at work. And you do it in little bitty moments that will add up throughout the day. Saying a mantra again, putting your phone down, breathing deeply, going on nature breaks. All of these things are important for your health, for your mental health, because sometimes quitting isn't an option. And then what do? You do self-care. So let me end by saying, you don't need permission to protect your energy. You don't need a new job to feel peace. You need strategy. You need support. And you need self-respect. I hope that you have a wonderful day today. I hope that you are incorporating self-care at work. If you haven't started yet, I hope that you start today. I hope today is the day that you start practicing self-care, and practice it every day. Not just the days where you feel bad or you feel aggravated or you feel frustrated, but every day, even on the days where it's a good day, that you are still practicing self-care at work. You are the most important person at your job, and you need to remember that. Protect your peace. You're not hard to work with. You're just being drained. And what do? You need to protect your peace by incorporating and practicing self-care at work. I'll see y'all on the next video.